They told you it was a flaw. They called you too sensitive. They said you feel way too much. They diagnosed your emotional depth like a disease. You believed them. You swallowed their judgment whole. You desperately tried to numb your natural reactions. You built heavy iron walls. You tried to grow thicker skin. The world still flooded in. Fluorescent lights still scraped your brain. Fake smiles still triggered your internal alarms. Passive aggression still felt like a physical blow. You thought you were entirely broken. You are not broken. You are a highly calibrated precision instrument. You were just placed in the wrong room. Think about elite intelligence agencies. Think about military submarine sonar systems. They use incredibly sensitive acoustic equipment. This equipment detects tiny thermal anomalies. It picks up microscopic shifts in the deep water. Sometimes the sonar gets overwhelmed by garbage noise. The operators do not smash the machine. They do not label the equipment defective. They change the frequency. They move the submarine to clearer waters. Your brain operates exactly the same way. This is not motivational poetry. This is hardcore evolutionary neuroscience. Most videos on this topic miss the mark completely. They tell you to meditate the pain away. They tell you to ignore toxic people. You cannot out-meditate your fundamental biology. Psychologist Michael Plous uncovered a massive scientific secret. He calls it vantage sensitivity. This framework changes everything you know about yourself. Society convinced you that sensitivity is a weakness. Society lied to you. Let us look closely at the clinical data. Researcher Elaine Aron studied this phenomenon deeply. She looked at sensory processing traits. She found it in 20% of the human population. She found it in over 100 other animal species. Evolution does not make 20% of a species defective. Evolution makes them the early warning radar. You are the tribal scout. You notice the subtle shift in the wind. You notice the slight change in a predator's breathing. Your nervous system absorbs absolutely everything. This is a massive survival advantage, but it comes with a brutal modern cost. You absorb the poison of everyday life. You absorb the ambient stress of your chaotic office. You absorb the hidden resentment in your relationships. It sits like cold lead in your stomach. This brings us to researcher Thomas Boyce. He studied child development in extreme detail. He discovered the orchid and dandelion effect. Most normal people are biological dandelions. They survive almost anywhere. They grow effortlessly in the cracks of concrete sidewalks. They tolerate terrible environments. They completely ignore toxic managers. They do fine in thoroughly mediocre relationships. But they never reach extraordinary heights. They remain comfortably average. You are not a dandelion. You are an orchid. Orchids wither instantly in the wrong soil. They die quickly in harsh wind. Place an orchid in a toxic room. It shows the worst developmental outcomes possible. It crumbles directly into severe anxiety. It collapses into chronic depression. This is exactly what happened to you. You blamed yourself for the wilting. You blamed your own fragile petals. You never blamed the poisoned soil. But here is the magnificent paradox. Place an orchid in the perfect environment. They do not just passively survive. They completely dominate the space. They outgrow the dandelions entirely. They become wildly creative. They become hyper-successful. They show untouchable psychological health. Jay Belsky proved this with hard clinical science. He called it differential susceptibility. Your biological gain dial is turned all the way up. It strongly amplifies the bad, but it also amplifies the good. Your sensory dial goes both ways. Average people gain very little from a great environment. Their emotional baseline almost never moves. You are radically different. A supportive room transforms your brain chemistry instantly. A safe partner turns you into a fearless genius. A quiet workspace multiplies your creative output by 10. This is vantage sensitivity in pure action. You gain a disproportionate advantage from positive spaces. You extract far more gold from a good room than anyone else. Think of a specific moment in your past. Remember a time you felt completely physically safe. Remember a room where you felt effortlessly brilliant. Your anxiety vanished. Your complex ideas flowed like water. People looked at you with genuine awe. You wondered where that version of you came from. That was not a random fluke. That was your biology matching your specific environment. Researcher Christian Candler reviewed this exact dynamic. He studied person-environment fit models. Compatibility matters vastly more than the trait itself. You cannot fix the microphone. You must fix the room. Stop trying to aggressively rewire your nervous system. Stop trying to act like a resilient dandelion. It is time to weaponize your sensitivity completely. Here is why this matters more than typical advice. Generic self-help tells you to change your personality. Elite performers change their context entirely. We call this the GAIN framework. It is a highly specific 4-step extraction protocol. It pulls you permanently out of the poison. It plants you firmly in the power zone. Step 1 is the gauge phase. You must identify your primary sensitivity domain. Your internal radar is highly specialized. Are you primarily emotionally sensitive? Do you absorb other people's grief instantly? Are you intensely sensory sensitive? Do bright lights and loud chaotic noises paralyze you? Are you acutely socially sensitive? Do complex group dynamics drain your battery to zero? You desperately need to know your specific instrument. Step 2 is the audit phase. Map your current environments with ruthless honesty. Use a strict 3-axis measurement system. Every single room is either a drain, or it is neutral, or it is a massive amplifier. Look closely at your office. Look critically at your closest friend group. Look at your daily morning commute. Label them without any emotional attachment. A drain environment slowly steals your life force. An amplifier environment effortlessly feeds your genius. Most people live their entire lives in drains. Step 3 is the isolate phase. Find your optimal vantage zones. Identify the exact physical places where you thrive. Maybe it is a quiet library at dawn. Maybe it is a specific conversation with one trusted mentor. Maybe it is working alone in a dark room. Isolate those hidden variables. Study them intensely like a clinical scientist. Figure out exactly what makes them feel safe. Step 4 is the negotiate phase. You must physically alter your reality. Systematically cut the draining environments out. Stop volunteering for highly toxic group projects. Stop attending loud social events out of pure guilt. Engineer much more exposure to your vantage zones. Build your entire life rigidly around these amplifiers. Defend them with absolute ruthless aggression. Protect your soil at all costs. When you finally align your physical environment, your sensitivity stops being a heavy curse. It quickly becomes a tremendously unfair advantage. You will easily see patterns others miss. You will feel deep joys others cannot fathom. You will perform at an untouchable level. But there is a very dangerous hidden trap. When you finally escape the overwhelming noise, when you finally step into the deep quiet, your body might suddenly panic. Your heart might race in the total silence. You might reach for your phone immediately. You might turn on the television just for noise. This makes absolutely zero logical sense. You fought so incredibly hard for peace, but the peace feels like a violent attack. Everyone falsely thinks this is just a bad habit. They think you are just addicted to distraction. They are completely wrong. Your nervous system is running an ancient survival protocol. Your brain does not experience silence as actual peace. It physically experiences silence as a missing signal. In the deep ancestral forest, sudden sharp silence meant a lethal predator was nearby. The birds abruptly stopped singing. The insects went entirely quiet. Death was rapidly approaching. Your modern brain still runs this ancient software. It instinctively treats the quiet room as a lethal threat. It forces you to flood the space with noise. You are quite literally running from the silence. If you want to understand why that happens, that video is on your screen right now.